Welcome to Chart of the Week for the week of September 13th. This week we'll look at vacancies and rents in single-family rentals during the second quarter of 2010. As you can see here, the vacancy rate in these sorts of rental properties is down around 4%. To be exact, the vacancy rate for the second quarter of 3.8%, which is up slightly from the first quarter rate of 3.1%. A year earlier, during the second quarter of 2009, the vacancy rate was 5.2%. I should note that once you're talking about changes in vacancy rate below 4%, we're not talking about very significant changes. A vacancy rate of 3% is very low and basically signifies full occupancy, since there will almost always be at least some vacant units due to turnover. So as you can see, vacancies are quite low and mirror the sorts of vacancy rates we saw during the second half of 2007, when the economy was at its peak before the downturn of 2008 and 2009. To provide some context, we can see here the vacancy rate is compared to the vacancy rate for multifamily units. The vacancy rates for the single-family homes and rental condos have been lower than the rate for multifamily units since the second quarter of 2006. Since that time, single-family rentals have reported vacancies down around 3 or 4%, and the market has been relatively tight. As with multifamily rentals, vacancies declined through the middle of the decade as the economy improved prior to the downturn of 2008, but as unemployment moved up at the end of 2008, vacancies hardly budge in single-family rentals, not moving above 5.5%. At any point since 2006. This indicates a significant amount of strength and demand underlying the market for these kinds of rentals. Here we see the number of closings on new home purchases versus the single-family rental rate. I've taken data from the Colorado Association of Realtors and have added trend lines, so you can see that as the number of closings on for-sale homes slowly declined after the end of 2006, vacancies in single-family rentals has declined as well. During the bubble times, when buyers were encouraged to buy or be priced out, renters in single-family homes are especially likely to leave their rentals for a home they purchased. So as the number of transactions declined, we can extrapolate that at least some of this decline is attributable to a drop in the number of single-family renters switching to home ownership. As long as people are in no rush to buy homes, the single-family rental market will benefit and likely continue to see low vacancy rates. Now let's briefly look at rents. As you can see here, the average rent for these types of rentals in the Denver area was $938 during the first quarter of 2004, and average rents were largely flat until 2006, when they began a generally sustained upward climb. During the second quarter of 2010, the average rent was $1,027. From 2004 to 2010, the average rent increased 9.5%. However, if we plot the consumer price index against the average rent, we see that the average rent has not kept up with inflation. Here I've placed the value of the CPI for the first quarter of each year. The increase in the CPI during the period from 2004 to 2010 was 15.4%, so the growth in average rent hasn't kept up with inflation.